The master category time of every week is when we get to talk about the tokens we drew the week before, and then we pick our topics based on those categories. Sometimes we just change up the categories because we're the bosses. This is our own thing, and who's gonna?
And nobody cares.
Whatever.
You're not my boss.
So that being said, Luke, why don't you kick us off with yours?
Okay. You guys know I like Peter Pan, right?
I'm familiar with how you do.
Peter Pan
I know about
is my
Ghostbusters.
favorite. My absolute
being seriously,
favorite.
like, rank it.
Is if on a scale of what to what, including what?
One to Peter Pan.
I assume Ghostbusters is what you love the most.
Oh, you mean of things I love?
Yeah. Put it in perspective for me.
Oh,
6.
Okay, so I'll say this: I love the experience of Disney being at Disney, because you can see how creativity goes from here and out into the world. Like
from your
being
head
there
out in the world.
It's special. As far as Disney in general, as far as like any of the original animated features and stuff like that, it's okay. It's not my like go-to, I need to watch a Disney movie kind of thing. But of those, if I was going to pick like the Hall of Fame canon of Disney animated features, Peter Pan is number one for me. So
gotcha.
If that makes sense. Like Peter Pan is not like the
You would
end-all,
rather watch
be-all.
lemmings jump to their death before you would watch Peter Pan.
No.
Okay.
But Peter Pan at the same time, the story of Peter Pan, a boy who refused to grow up, I want to be that character. Like I don't want to grow up. I don't want to be an adult. I don't want to have responsibility. Like I would love to be Peter Pan. So I identify with that side of the character. I think.
Stated by the fact that you haven't paid your taxes in the last 18 years.
So yeah, I guess that's a little bit more of a reason why I love Peter Pan so much. Anyway, Rachel, my wife, got me this awesome book, put out by HarperCollins. It's the story of Peter Pan, the J.M. Barrie original story. But the cool thing about it, it's a new release illustrated by Minalima, which is a design studio who's done work with like a lot of the design influence for all the Harry Potter films when they were coming out. They've done prop making for like things like Harry Potter, The Golden Compass, like those kind of films. And I don't know if there's more of these books that they're coming out with, but Peter Pan is one that they worked with. And this thing is so cool. It is just the regular story, but mixed in are all of these pieces that help that story come to life, like medical notes on the children. There are,
I love that. That's so cool.
like these leaves, but when you open it, it's the shadow. You know, it's the there's the fairy wings. There are.
So is that supposed to be like a collected actual fairy wing stuck in the book?
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
Yeah. There is this clock that has the crocodile as hands.
And it actually functions?
Yes.
Yeah.
It moves.
Oh, that's so neat.
There are, I mean, there's so much stuff. I'm trying to find.
Does stuff actually come out of the book too?
Yeah.
Or is it all attached?
It's all
into the
attached. There are a couple things that can come out. But like this map of Skull Island.
That looks so good.
It's a really cool way to experience the book again.
Are you going to read it to the boys?
No,
yeah, I think we'll probably read through it. But the cool part is it's such a good story, and those elements are helpful, but they're not intrusive. It's not like a huge spread that you have to like pop open. It's just these little pieces that help you kind of get an idea in your mind of the things that maybe you're imagining. It's like a little like tactile, like representation. And so I thought it was super awesome. But yeah, that's it.
That's cool. I like that.
I was really impressed, and I didn't even know like that existed. She just found it somewhere, and it's probably my favorite present of all Christmas because it was just so cool. But yeah, Minalima, you can find their website. Their stuff they do is incredible. But read a book, and there's ways that it's not just boring words on pages. So there's some cool stuff out there. So
I love it.
I'm gonna throw it to Patrick.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, that's super cool. That would actually get me to maybe read a book.
Right?
Looks good. So,
Or at least look through a book.
yeah, or minimum to at least pull stuff out of a book. Okay. So we've had time off, which means that I've had time to catch up on films and to watch films. So there's a few I've gone through. I'm going to rattle off kind of a list of some of those highlights of the last few days.
Okay.
And then I'm going to actually stop on one and talk about it. So not all these are new.
Stop on the last one and talk about that.
Yeah. A couple of these are new, but not all of them are new films. So, for instance, an older film that I saw this week is Sicario, which is just, and I say older, it's from a few years ago. I know that they're making a sequel right now.
Well,
Yes,
is
Luke.
that why you watched it? Because the sequel's coming out, and you're like, oh,
I was
never
aware of
watched
the
Sicario.
sequel. No, the reason I watched it is because I can watch Amazon Prime Video on Apple TV now, and so now all these movies have opened up to me because I was too late. I couldn't find the remote for my Fire Stick, and then I just stopped watching stuff with it, and so now I feel like I'm being reintroduced to it. So Sicario is just incredible. Can't say enough good about it. I watched The Siege of Jadotville, which is a Netflix original film. It was fine. It's
What is it? What is it?
If it's not El Camino, it's not for me.
basically it's about this. I think it's like an Irish UN force that was in a city. I guess the city would be Jadotville, and this local militia was trying to take it over, and the militia was much larger than this little group of guys, and was trying to take it over for several days, and it was successfully defended basically until they ran out of ammo. In the end, the militia that was attacking them suffered huge casualties, and then the group of people holding Jadotville no one died. They had no casualties on their side. And then once they were captured, again, they literally ran out of bullets. They had nothing else. Once they were captured, they were only held for about a month before they were released. And so no one died. They were held for a month and they got to go home. The weird thing is they were considered cowards because they didn't stay and die, basically, even though they defended this post with no support for, again, the better part of a week. And, it wasn't until decades later that the government, in fact, when I say later, I think within the last few years, that their government actually recognized them as being heroes. And so there's been a big thing lately, and I think the movie kind of corresponds with some of that. So
Does this take place in like the 50s or 60s?
When did it take place? Let's see, 1960s.
Gotcha.
It's about a standoff between French and Belgian mercenaries in the Congo during the early 1960s. So that probably makes sense. But yeah, it was like an Irish force. So initially, like I said, they were because of political reasons seen as cowards, and so their whole story was kind of brushed under the rug. And then within the last, I think, 5 years, they were recognized by the Irish government as being heroes. And
it's Irish, but it takes place in the Congo?
Yeah, again, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay,
I may have blanked for a little bit of that.
I'll find it and watch it. And just, I'm trying to understand what's going on.
I gotta tell you, I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm not gonna find it or watch it.
Basically, the battle scenes are very compelling, and everything that happens between those scenes is just not watchable.
Are they like Black Hawk Down, or are they Saving Private Ryan?
It's not nothing.
Well, you have to remember, nobody dies on the Irish peacekeeping side, and so because of that, you don't have this gory, like, let's help put your guts back in your body real quick for your mom when she gets your body. It's not like that. It's like, so it's like action, and there's like brass and explosions and dirt and stuff like that, but it's not like gory. Sure. So it's somehow
is this the one that you decided to talk about?
No, but I just
am asking questions.
Yeah. Just watch the film.
This
That's
movie
fine, I
sounds
will.
movie sounds terrible to me.
Okay, good.
It's called Sicario.
Sicario. I watched Kingsman: Golden Circle. Finally,
What do you think about that?
it is so much better than the reviews. People are saying 51%. I would say that it is
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it this week.
90 to 95% as good as the original. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and the
I would
people
agree
that
with
are
that.
complaining, like if someone wants to say, oh, it's the same formula, they already did that. Okay, well, it was a lot of fun the first time. It was also a lot of fun the second time. I don't think it was drastically worse the way people talked about it. And there was that big uproar. There's one scene specifically that there was this big uproar about, it being too like raunchy, I guess, or too exploitative or something. I don't know. I didn't think so.
No,
I know the scene they're talking about.
Given the climate of our current culture, that is not out of bounds.
Well, given the film and everything like that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I actually loved the statesmen, like the whole kind of world surrounding them. I would love to have spent more time in their world. So that was great.
I think, that's fine.
Yeah. So anyway,
moving
just
on.
watch the film. It's worth watching. Saw The Big Short again. No reason to talk about it. It's an incredible film. That's becoming like a go-to. That and like Moneyball are some of those films that I can just watch over and over and over and over, and they're still just as exciting as the first time. Finally watched The Disaster Artist. Great, super cringy, and it's slow. It was slow to build. I wish they had spent more time on set and less time setting up the filming of the film. I thought there was a little bit of an imbalance there. I really wanted to spend more time with the film.
Well, but it was the story of them more than it was the story of the
It was
film.
the story of the art of the artist. So
you just
kind of
walk away feeling like everybody had to change or grow except Tommy. Tommy's just Tommy. And that was a bit annoying because you like expect that he'll give at some point and he just doesn't.
But that's the beauty of it being based on reality, is that he still lives in this delusion. Like and honestly, that's the most cringeworthy part of it, because that is absolutely real. And that's what was so like,
I saw Bright, the Netflix film. Luke, you talked about it last week. Listen, okay, yes, it's not an A+ movie.
Sure.
But it's maybe like a C+ or a B-. I mean, I thought that there was... I thought it totally lived up to the idea of summer blockbuster fare. I'll put it that way. I think it totally was at home in the cinemas in the month of like August. Totally get it. It worked. I can't wait for more stuff. It's not going to win any awards except maybe the costume department. And then the acting by... what's his name? The
Joel
guy opposite
Calamezzo.
Will Smith. Joel Edgerton, who played Jacoby. He was fantastic. But yeah, so that's my take on that. I think it was great summer blockbuster fare. Andrew, I know you have thoughts real quick.
No, I just didn't like it. I mean, it didn't capture my attention. I didn't have to watch it. I watched the whole thing through, but I wasn't like on the edge of my seat with anything.
Right.
Like, I think I found myself an hour into the movie pulling up stuff on Amazon. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't, I didn't have to sit and watch it to understand what was going on.
It's because the story was bad.
The story was bad.
It was good acting, good visuals, good sound.
Concept was great.
Good concept.
Concept was
bad
great.
Story, and just fell on it.
I wanted to see more fairies, honestly. They set that up at the beginning to be like that they were going to be this nuisance, you know? And I liked that. Like, to me, that was what kind of harkened back to Guillermo del Toro for me. Because he kind of handles fairies in that same way in Pan's Labyrinth and in...
You obviously mean Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, obviously Benicio del Toro. But I would have liked to have seen more fairies, I think, in the movie. But it was just fun.
Fair enough. Okay, so finally, the movie I actually wanted to... And I'll talk about very briefly. Won't spend a lot of time, which is fine. It's not a new film, but it is... it isn't on any streaming services yet, so it's newer... but it is available to buy or to rent through like iTunes or probably Amazon, PlayStation Store, so on and so on. Battle of the Sexes. So it's a 2017 film. It's Steve Carell and Emma Stone, and it's it has to do with the Battle of the Sexes, which is a tennis match that happened between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. So the idea is that Bobby Riggs, and this is something that happened in the early 70s, I think 73. So the idea is that Bobby Riggs, when he was in his early 20s, He won Wimbledon. He won what is now the U.S. Open. I think it might have just been called like the Tennis World Championship or the World Championships. But he was, multiple times over the best male tennis player in the world. So fast forward, he's in his mid-50s now, and the movie portrays him as being basically chronic gambler. Like the guy is just always betting stuff. Like that's, there's scenes in the movie where he's sitting in there with his counselor or his psychiatrist. You think that his psychiatrist is going to be talking to him about his gambling addiction, but they're actually both sitting in there gambling together. Like it doesn't end. And at the time, women are fighting for their place in the sport, and they're fighting to be recognized and to get equal pay and those type of things. Billie Jean King was really, number one, she was an amazing tennis player, but number two, she was at the forefront of a lot of those conversations about equality within the sport. And then it goes on in actually equality in other ways, even outside of tennis, and the movie deals with those. But again, she's younger, so I think she's in her 20s, he's in his 50s, and he decides that he can, even at his age, even being 30 years outside of his championship age, he can still beat any woman. And so he does beat one of the highest ranked women in the world. And then ultimately he goes to play Billie Jean King, and that's the actual Battle of the Sexes is the name of that match where they played each other. So, really enjoyable film. So Steve Carell, being a smart, we don't cuss on this show, but you know what I'm going to say. He's just so cheeky. We need to use British words because British words are better. But he's just so cheeky the entire film. And Steve Carell doing that, being like snarky, and it's so much fun to watch. And seeing how Emma Stone and him react on screen, because she plays a very strong female character. She's not someone that just bends to the wishes of people around her. She's very principled, and she's the type of person that, she's gonna, if you try to pull anything, she's done with you and she's gone. It doesn't matter if she needs you or if you think she needs you or whatever it is, principle alone, she's gonna walk. And so watching how that unfolds, watching how their relationship unfolds, and then finding out after the fact. So after I watched the film, of course, I looked up the characters to find out more about them. Finding out that up until his death, Billie Jean King is still alive, Bobby Riggs died. Up until Bobby Riggs' death, they talked on the phone every single day. And it's just cool to see the relationship that came out of that. So anyway, great film, highly recommended. Like I said, it's not available on any streaming services, but you can find it. You can rent on iTunes or do something like that. So awesome watch.
Cool. All right, who you tossing it to?
Well, I think that only leaves one person, right?
Yep, Luke.
No, Andrew.
All right, so I have toys and games, and I am going to talk about a game that I got for Christmas that I've wanted for quite a while now, called Photosynthesis. And Photosynthesis is, here's the box for it. I'm going to do my best to display it and talk about it at the same time. Yeah. So as you can tell, Photosynthesis, it's a game based on arboring. Is that how you would say that?
Yeah.
Arboring? You're growing trees, so you're an arborist, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, so here's the game. I'm going to open it up and show you a couple pieces to it. The mechanic of it is very unique. It's by Blue Orange, and so Blue Orange does a lot more of those party games. They do the games called the Spot It. Have you ever played the Spot It games?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Okay, so
we played Spot It.
You mean like
in our
I Spy?
First time around on the show when we did Sandbox together. We played Spot It together.
Yeah.
What is Spot It?
We're not going to go into that right now. It's a game.
You've played it.
Images, and you have to try to find things that match. But my point in saying Blue Orange is that they are known for doing family-style, quick access, grab and go kinds of games.
Oh, we've played Spot It before.
Cool. Keep going.
The fun thing with this game, there's another game they did too, but this game is kind of their foray into doing slightly more involved strategic style games, but still with that easy to understand, kind of easily graspable family game. So this is 8 and older, so it's still kids can still grasp this. Cooper played half of it and got bored and left, literally. But
Where'd he go?
What?
Where'd he go?
I haven't seen him. It's been weeks.
Cool.
But every player gets a board, and the board is represented by different types of trees. So every player is a different type of tree, and you get 4 components. You get a seed, a seedling, a sapling, like a baby tree, a medium-sized tree, and then a full-grown tree. And here, I will show you examples of those trees just real quickly. Let me get a seed. Okay, so here's the seed for the blue trees. These are the pine trees, right? So the seed for the pine trees, I'm trying to show the camera. There we go. Is a little pine cone.
Yeah.
Huh.
Go figure. So it's a pine cone.
You're holding it upside down, which was confusing, but go ahead.
Sorry. Here's the small tree, like the sapling. Here's the medium-sized tree, and then guess what the big tree looks like? The same but bigger. So
oh my gosh.
there you go. The pieces are really great. Like they're like a really decent, like thick cardboard, and the way that they designed them, it's not just straight. And if you know what that means, like 2 straight slits that kind of slide into each other. One of the slits is crooked, so it goes like this, so that they lock into each other.
Right.
So that when you lift it, stuff doesn't fall off. Make sense?
Makes sense.
So, the box is really neat. The way that they do it, it comes with these 2 like kind of cardboard pieces that everything sits on top of, and then once you punch everything out, you discard those cardboard pieces, and it comes with these 4 slots. So you essentially have all of your pieces kind of put into.
You don't have to take it back apart, right?
What? Yeah. So you don't have to take the pieces apart, which is time consuming. It took me like an hour to get all this stuff put together. But so the purpose of the game, there's a board and there's this sun piece that moves around the board. It's the sun. And it moves around. And obviously, you know what photosynthesis is. It's the process of light bringing nutrients to plants. And so you're growing these things and you get light points. And your light points kind of are shown here. They kind of go up the scale. Each light cycle, you get more light points. You use those light points to purchase saplings and medium-sized trees and large trees. And then as you grow the trees, you get them to their full life cycle, to their big tree, and then you harvest the tree. And when you harvest the tree, you get these scoring tokens. This is a really abbreviated version. It makes sense. Just go and watch videos for it. But each scoring token has a different point value associated with it.
Right.
After 3 or 4, depending on how many players you have, after 3 or 4 full light cycles or full like rotations of the sun around the board, it's the game ends. Whoever has the most points wins. Sure. Fairly straightforward, but here's the like interesting mechanic of it. The way in which the sun hits for a light cycle makes all the difference. So like if you have a tree, let's say you've got a medium-sized tree, like right here on the board, and then you've got this tree right here, 1 spot away from it. Well, and the sun is coming directly from like maybe where the camera's perspective is. Well, light can still hit the bigger tree because it's behind the smaller tree, and so they both get light points because each tree casts a shadow, and based on the size of the tree, it determines how many spaces back that shadow is cast. However, as the board moves around, I'm shifting this to show perspective, as the light source moves around, all of a sudden, the light source, when it moves around the board, if it's hitting the big tree first, the shadow is being cast on the smaller tree, you don't get points for the smaller tree. So it's all about timing. It's all about kind of paying attention to where the light's going to be and managing your resources appropriately, because you can only buy things with light points, and you can only get light points if the light is actually shining on your resources while they're on the board. So very, very cool, very different mechanic of a game. I'm a big fan of it. The artwork is beautiful. It's simplistic, but very, very beautiful. I would tell anybody to go pick it up. It's maybe a 45-minute runtime for a 4-player game once you know what you're doing. Go pick it up.
It's been on my list for a while. There was a lot of people playing it at Gen Con this year, and it was really, really popular. And it seems like a really fun idea, just that based on positioning, it's a game of positioning, basically, as the sun moves, you know.
It's like positioning and resource management.
What?
Yeah. It's positioning and resource management.
Yeah, that's
all
exactly
that it is.
what it is. But it's a cool take on it, and it's very simple, easy for pretty much anyone to understand. So it was really popular.
Cooper totally understood it. He totally understood the strategy of it.
Yeah.
But he got to this point where everybody was still trying to figure out how to play it, and so there was a lot of lull time for him, and he wanted to move on. He got an iPhone for Christmas, and so he just wanted to go play apps on his iPhone. That's what he wanted to do. So I wouldn't make that a slam against the game. That doesn't even affect my rating of the game at all. A 7-year-old's whatever you call it. What's it called?
Attention span?
Attention span. That's it. I couldn't remember that simple phrase. But anyway, Photosynthesis, Blue Orange. Go pick it up, and it's going to be a great addition to your game shelf. So I think that's it for my category, which means that's it for all the categories, which means, man, first Master Category episode of 2018 is in the books. Find us on mf1podcast.com, where you can find show notes and links to all the stuff on here, as well as an archive full of a ton of people who are insanely talented who have talked to us over the years. Like we said, a lot of cool stuff coming up in 2018. A way that you can partner with us in that is by subscribing and liking and sharing and commenting and just getting involved in the community and the show. And one of the ways you can do that is by giving financially. You can join the Patron Guild. I think we'll just call it that.
No, we call it the Guild now. Yeah.
The Patron Guild by going to patreon.com/mf1podcast. Throw a couple dollars into the proverbial bucket and help us continue to do what we want to do with 2018. We have so many cool ideas, and that is going to rely on you guys partnering with us and joining the ranks there. And is there anything else that I'm missing? Follow us on social media, MF1 Podcast on all the different platforms. But I think for now, we're going to get out of this one. I'm Andrew.
I'm Patrick.
And I'm Luke.
Peace out.
Bye.
Hold on to your butts.